Hello and welcome to another video. So this is my reading vlog for The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. So I hope you enjoy watching me read and ramble about what I'm reading for the next, 15 minutes. So yeah, hope you enjoy. So I'm basically at page 50, so not a lot, but I already have something to say. Okay, first of all, that holographic font, incredible. Second of all, Imogen, I'm guessing that's how her name is pronounced. It's a very weird name and also a very weird character. Do you honestly know anyone in your life who, after being mistaken for an actress, would actually go up and do like a whole Comic-Con panel? And besides it being super illegal, I feel like I don't like her so far, even though she's probably made up to be the one I'm supposed to like better. The second thing I wanted to update you guys about is that the author keeps making references to all these different fandoms. I mean, it's kind of too much. I know it makes sense with the characters, especially for Imogen. Jess doesn't make as many references, and basically Imogen, she keeps making references and referencing other fandoms, and not only the Starfield fandom, every single possible fandom you can think of, there's probably a reference of it in this book. And as a fan and a person who enjoys fandom, I find it a little bit excessive, because even if you're into many fandoms, you're not into all of them. And it kind of seems like the author seems to think that if you're into fandom, then you know everything about everything. When that's not really true. I'm kind of hoping she dials back on some of the references, because it's every page there's 5 references to some pop culture thing or some fandom thing. I'm God, I'm exhausted. Okay, so I just reached page 75 of the book, and honestly, I don't really like that her nickname, Imogen's nickname, is Monster. It's just, would someone actually like other people calling you a monster? I feel like I wouldn't like it. I don't feel like I know anyone who'd actually like people calling them monster. Imogen and Jesse's assistant have had a meet cute, and apparently it's going to be haters to lovers, and I'm really excited to see how that turns out. The haters thing seemed a little bit forced when they met, but I don't know, maybe I like it. Also, I haven't been reading with a bookmark because I've just been remembering the page I'm on, but now I don't want to do that anymore. So I picked up this lovely book depository bookmark, which is actually 3 panels about a guy watching a book to movie adaptation, which I feel like is pretty spot on for this book. Okay, so right now I'm on my writing break because I just wrote about 800 words, I think, for my NaNoWriMo challenge this year. If you haven't checked out my weekly vlog or my announcement that I'm doing NaNoWriMo this year, then check those out. I'll leave those links somewhere. Coming back to the book. I'm liking it so far. I haven't read since yesterday, so I'm just going to relax, read as many pages as I can, and I'll tell you guys what I think. Okay, so I just got to page 128, so I'm a third of the way through the book, and honestly, Imogen is still kind of annoying to me. I don't know, for some reason she just irks me, she rubs me the wrong way. I'm hoping to like her by the end, but so far, I don't like her very much. I know she doesn't know why Jess is trying to not be in the sequel, but I mean, she is basically ruining her career without even knowing. It doesn't seem like she cares about what she does affecting Jess in any way, shape, or form. And that's so selfish of her. I expected Jess to be the selfish one, but for now, Jess is pretty great. I do wish Darian was in it more. He's in it quite a bit, but I miss him, and I miss Elle too. I really miss their relationship. I think the book, from what I've read, is going to like take place only in like the 4 days of the con, which is incredible to me because there's two relationships that are clearly going to bloom from this book, and I'm not a believer in insta-love, so a relationship, an actual real-life relationship, like developing in 4 days, I don't know, I guess we'll have to see if I actually believe that or not. Also, I don't know what everyone has against Hufflepuffs, but please, just let them breathe. This book should definitely come with a spoiler warning. I'm on page 130 and it spoils like 5 different fandoms. So if you're a fan of the MCU, Star Wars, Buffy, or Supernatural, or Kingdom Hearts, just know that this book spoils many a character death.
Okay, I think I have a theory about who might be the person leaking the script, and for now I think it might be Natalia Ford,
The former actress that played Amara. I don't know why, I just got a feeling. I don't think anyone else that we know is the person who's leaking everything on Twitter. So for now, I'll put my bets on Natalia Ford. Okay guys, this is a very important update. I'm in page 155 and I've just read something mind-boggling, and I don't think I can longer stand Imogen. I didn't like her from the beginning, but she just said something that was just the last straw. She said, and I quote, "I haven't been this happy since season 6 of Voltron. There is no war in Ba Sing Se, and there's definitely no Voltron after season 3. Especially the last season." Guys, I hate to say it, I really do, but I can't like Imogen. I can't. You know what's worse than being happy about Voltron season 6? Is being a Sheath shipper. Like, ship whoever you want. So apparently it's not only Imogen who makes really weird decisions and has really weird tastes, because apparently one of the characters, Bran, he's about to sing a song from Hamilton, and he chooses The Story of Tonight at a party. That's like the most depressing song you could pick. I mean, it's that and it's Quiet Uptown. Who would choose that? You obviously choose My Shot or something more energetic. You don't sing This Story of Tonight at a party. Like, what are these characters thinking? So I'm on page 215 and I think I've changed my mind as to who the person who is leaking the script might be.
I said it was Natalia before, but I think now that it might be Jared. I'd forgotten he existed, which I wish I could because he's a horrible character. But anyways, he might be the person leaking it because he has this whole thing about being a douche, and he wants to meet Imogen by like the end of the con and like tell her something. So it might be that he has the script. I don't know.
I'd kind of like it better if it was him than Natalia, because she's been in there like for 5 seconds and hasn't done anything else. So we'll see. I think right now I'm going to put on a face mask and then keep reading. I have like 100 pages left and it's 9:30. So if I read at like a pace of 50 pages an hour, I should be done by 11:30, so we'll see if I actually finish it today. Okay, so I have about 80 pages left, and with my face mask on, I honestly can't move my face too much, but Okay, so my thoughts so far. If you ever meet a guy who ships Harley Quinn and the Joker, that's like a huge red flag. Like, don't date a guy who ships that. It's like the textbook definition of a toxic ship. So, Jasper, 0 out of 10. Like, would not recommend. I hate him. Also, I feel like this book has some very good moments and tries to deal with some actual serious issues, but it kind of gets lost between all of that fandom references. Honestly, not so much Jess's perspective, because she's not into fandom, but Imogen's, every single time something happens to her, she makes a reference to a fandom or like a weird fandom metaphor that like no one, I don't know, please let me know down below if you're into fandom and if you're like really a fan of something. If you compare every single situation in your life to something that happens in that particular fandom or like book, movie, whatever, but everything that happens, she's like, oh, the tension was so thick, thicker than Jabba the Hutt. Like, who would have thought of that? Or like, he put her arm around her like a doctor grabbing his new companion, and like, you have to like really think about these. Like, I'm really into fandom. I'm in so many fandoms, but I've never compared like any of my situations to something that happens in a piece of media. So please let me know down below if you are a little bit like Imogen and everything that happens to you, you have a reference and somehow you can compare it to your own life. Okay, to show you what I was talking about earlier, here on page 233, Jess is actually talking about something that's very important, and that is how they treat women in Hollywood, and specifically women who like act in sci-fi and adventure flicks. And I think that's so important. That's such an important topic to talk about because it's like a real issue. Women are like basically objects in Hollywood when they're like 35 or older. They're basically like expired and you only get roles as like mothers or old people. And this part is like really interesting. I'm really digging Jess's point of view. Maybe this book, it wouldn't make as much sense given that is based off the fairy tale, but this book I think would really have benefited if it had only been from Jess's point of view. I don't know if it's just me because I really like her more than I like Imogen, but her point of view is so refreshing, and I'm learning so much about Hollywood, and I'm seeing what I already imagined it was like being a female, a young girl, playing a part in a very, very famous sci-fi TV show, movie. So I just wish we could just see her point of view, honestly. Guys, I found a typo in the book. Here it says "the" is the second time in 24 hours, and it should say "this is the second time." Oh my god, am I the only nerd that gets excited when she finds typos in books? I'm pretty sure I am. Ugh, again with the Hufflepuff discrimination. This is why nobody likes Gryffindor's Imogen. This is why! So I think before I called Jasper Jared several times, and apparently his name is Jasper. Update, I was completely wrong about who the villain was. It's Vance. My two theories were wrong, of course. I can't believe I completely fell for that. Of course it wasn't Vance, it was the director. I totally fell for it. None of my theories were correct. It wasn't even the one I thought it was after it was basically confirmed. I'm not on top of my game. I just finished this book. It's literally just before midnight, so I basically read this book in a day. I don't know what page I was on when I started reading it today, but I think like 100, so basically read it in like 2.5 days, which I love, you know. There's nothing I love more than just marathoning a contemporary and reading it in 2 to 3 days. But yeah, I'm a little scattered brain right now due to the lack of sleep. I usually go to sleep at 10:30, so going to sleep at 12, you know, not my first choice. But you know, when you just get to that good part, you know, the last 100 pages of a book, you have to keep going. But I think I'm going to sleep now, and I'll tell you guys my more coherent thoughts in the morning. That was definitely a reading experience. I still haven't made up my mind as to how much I like this book. I think I'm between 3.5 stars and 4 stars. Simply because, like, until page 150, I wasn't really feeling the book that much, because I felt like the plot was like very small in comparison to Geekerella, its predecessor. So I felt like it sounded more like a novella than something I would actually read more than 300 pages about. But you know, in the end, you could actually see why it was that long. I think like the last 150 pages were much more important and exciting than the whole first half of the book. So I guess if you want to read it, my advice to you would just be like, push through if you're not like super entertained by the beginning of the book, because the end is kind of worth it. Then regarding the characters, I think I've made myself clear. Imogen, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Please, if you know, let me know down in the comments, because I've been struggling. But yeah, she wasn't my favorite for like, well, she's still not my favorite. At the end, I didn't expect this, but she kind of like grew on me a little. She made a decision that I was like, okay, so you're not a completely terrible person. I don't quite believe her brother Milo like feeling like he was in her shadow, because she did not a lot to make us believe that she was a successful person. No offense to anyone who relates to Imogen. I mean, she's just like a normal person, but I don't think she deserved like that much praise. But anyways, well, then Jess, I actually really liked her character and her character arc. I thought that was like very well done. There are basically 2 main ships. There are only 2 main ships in this book, and I thought the one with Jess and Harper was very well done. You know, it still had like a 4-day time period, which, you know, is a little iffy, but it's still, I felt it was kind of like more natural at least, and it had more like sweet moments between them. But then we have Ethan and Imogen, who I'm gonna call Mo because that's so much easier to pronounce. And I didn't buy their romance. I felt like their kiss at the end wasn't earned, because they didn't have like a civil conversation in the 4 days they knew each other, and they were fighting all the time. Mo was so freaking mean to him for like no reason, and he was just like trying to help. So I like Ethan, and then I don't like Mo that much. But I think those are all my thoughts on the book. So if I could give it like a 3.75 out of 5, I think that might be like a good rating. Those are all of my thoughts on this book. It's definitely a wild ride, especially towards the end. There's kind of a plot twist, which I didn't expect from this kind of book, but I really appreciated it, even though I totally fell for the misdirect. But you know, props to the author for getting me to believe her when I wasn't like really believing anything else from the book. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. Please comment down below if you've read this book or if you want to read this book, and leave a like, subscribe, do whatever you want, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! One thing is for sure, they both look very good in my rainbow shelf, but I just noticed that they're not the same height. What the heck? And they're from the same publishing house. Oh, that's gonna bother me.